Hello, we are students here at San Francisco State University, Kinesiology class 697-698 to talk about the effects of COVID-19 on physical activity amongst college students. Many individuals have faced one of the most traumatic and devastating situations to occur all around the world. Coronavirus has been an ongoing problem throughout the world today. This infectious disease has first introduced in March 2020. According to CDC and the scientists that have been looking through this virus have shown that this virus is mildly contagious, that causes individuals having mild symptoms that may lead to severe illness and even death. This leads to the idea of lockdowns of major cities and states, closing up many malls and businesses that were not considered essential, as well as limiting outdoor privileges and quarantine to stop the spread of COVID-19. On the other hand, this COVID-19 pandemic has led to schools and universities shutting down in-person learning and transitioning into virtual learning using social platforms such as Google Classroom and Zoom. Due to the rising cases of coronavirus and its outdoor restrictions, the purpose of this study is to see the effect that COVID-19 has on physical activity amongst college students. The three subtopics that we found throughout our literature review is 1. Virtual learning has impacted individuals' academic performance, leaving students to feel unmotivated and have lack of attention. 2. As virtual learning has brought to classes being done on their own time, individuals are left with figuring out their own time management amongst school, work, and other priorities. And lastly, the pandemic has impacted stress levels and mental health, leaving others overwhelmed and very concerned with their health physically and mentally.
So for our study, we electronically recruited 35 undergraduate kinesiology students at San Francisco State University. We chose to keep gender anonymous. All participants must be kinesiology majors and have been enrolled at least 1 year at SFSU and must be working at least 8 hours per week. We use Qualtrics, which is an online survey tool that uses a web-based Likert scale. And through Qualtrics, we created a 22-question survey to help us gather participant demographic data and to ask students questions that will measure their attitudes and opinions on physical activity, time management, stress levels, academic motivation, and performance during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our rationale for this study is to examine how COVID-19 has directly affected these factors. We recruited these students through kinesiology professors with the possible opportunity for them to receive extra credit. And to analyze our data, we created 3 scatter plots to examine 3 relationships. First, between students' academic performance and physical activity during the pandemic. Second, to examine the relationship between time management and stress levels.
Now, figure 1 is a table showing the participants' demographics. We asked the students to state their academic standing, the number of units they are enrolled in currently, and the number of hours they work per week. This table shows their answers in percentage values. Figure 2 is a scatter plot showing correlation between the stress level for academic performance and motivation level for academic performance. We categorized the 5 answer options for the survey questions from 1 to 5, 1 being a great deal of stress, 2 being a lot of stress, 3 being a moderate amount of stress, 4 being a little stress, and 5 being no stress at all. The results showed that participants were at a great deal of stress, a lot of stress, or moderate stress with academic performance, but no participant said they were a little stressed or not stressed at all. The correlation coefficient, which is the R value, was found to be 0.42, which represents a moderate strength of correlation, and the trend line has a positive slope. Figure 3 is a scatter plot that shows a correlation for time management between school and work and time management between school and social life. We categorized the 5 answer options for the survey questions from 1 to 5. 1 being extremely easy, 2 stating somewhat easy, 3 stating nor easy nor difficult, 4 stating somewhat difficult, and 5 stating extremely difficult. The results showed that most participants found managing time between school and work and managing time between school and social life somewhat difficult, but no participants reported it to be extremely easy. The trend line has a positive slope for this correlation, although the dots are not very close to the trend line. But since the R value for the correlation is only 0.22, the correlation represents a weak correlation.
One study found walking, moderate, vigorous, and total PA levels have been reduced during the COVID-19 pandemic confinements in university students of different countries. Our study had similar results, showing a 60% decrease in motivation for physical activity since the start of the pandemic. According to Effects of COVID-19 on College Students, Mental Health in the United States Interview Survey Study, a large number of participants showed concerns about their academic performance being impacted by the pandemic. The biggest perceived challenge was the transition to online classes. Others indicated their reduced motivation to learn and tendency to procrastinate. Similar to our research, which showed a 75% decrease in academic motivation since the start of the pandemic. Research by Sun, Hedge, Smith, Wang, and Sazenjar proved 71% of students indicated stress and anxiety due to the COVID-19 outbreak, similar to our research, which showed that 100% of students who took the survey claimed to have been experiencing a moderate to a large amount of stress since the beginning of the pandemic. Many students have been struggling academically since the transfer to online learning. One student mentioned, "I feel like I started slacking. I was trying to avoid the situation by just not doing some of the work. So it is stressful academically." Time management has been a huge issue for many students, whether it is due to lack of motivation or stress. Students are having difficulty managing their time. Similarly, our research found managing both school and work to be extremely difficult.